channel near you.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome, Rebecca, Val, Kathy A, Lorna, Amy, WC, Denise, Lorna. Let's see. Hello, Kev. Welcome to the show. Nice to see you there. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on a Friday afternoon. And how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
And Jennifer, how about yourself?
Doing awesome. It's Friday.
Yeah, right. Still hot in Arizona, so I'm still trying to adapt to that.
It's only 100 degrees. Good. Still hot here in New Orleans, too.
100 degrees. What's wrong with you all? But anyways, so this is part 2, ladies and gentlemen, of a lower case. And it's very interesting on this case and how everything works. And you did find out some extra information, didn't you, Jennifer?
Yes, I did. Yes. So I've got a news article or video to play that covers that.
It's still strange. I don't know how everything's working out the way it is. But it was when you told me about the facts, I was like, really?
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the show and let's bring Melinda.
Hey, everybody. I'm doing good. How are you, Grizz?
Wonderful.
Finally, I'm on here live with you.
That's right. I'm excited.
I am too. Okay, so basically, Grizz just gave us the picture and he did let us know that the body had been recovered. That's all the information he gave us. So basically, what I do to work on a case, I perform intuitive evidential mediumship. I look at the person of interest, location, weapons, the suspects, everything that I can possibly get, even vehicles and all of that. So the first impression that I got was that she was, this was something that was pre-planned. So I did do some dowsing and I was just wanting to know the general area, if I could find that. I was getting hits in different places, so I was a little bit confused. But I did get, for the most part, there it was a cold place. I was shown snow, so that it was an indication that wherever this happened, it was cold at the time. Now, the motive I feel for this crime was due to a connection between her and at least 2 other people. And I feel that there was other things that's going on that I would prefer not to put here just because of, I don't know if I'm allowed to, but there was a lot of stuff going on between her and 2 other people. The 2 other people are males. I do feel that she did know both of them. Actually, I felt that she maybe it was either a boyfriend or an ex-boyfriend that I got that was involved in this. Let's see here. And the weapon that I feel that was used, because I do feel she was murdered, it was strangulation. I did ask for vehicles. I did get a truck or an SUV type vehicle, dark in color, so possibly a black or a blue. Again, I'm just going to read you my whole summary. And then, the first thing I got, that she was a beautiful soul, but she trusted too easily. I felt there was an older male possibly in her life, and I felt like he was either a boyfriend or anyway, a close friend, if not a boyfriend. And I felt like he could get her to do things that she normally wouldn't do. I seen like she had the family, I would feel like would see a change in her, or if she just didn't act like who she normally was before this person came into her life. I do feel the person of interest are both males, because I do feel there's 2 that was involved. I felt like one of them got her to go, like meet up with him or something. I do feel that at one point in time, there was something about one of them is in, I feel like they have been in jail or are in jail. One of them are, and I feel that they are very closely connected to her, because I felt like they took her, so she was missing. I was shown the number 22, and I was shown hot chocolate, so I felt like this was her showing me that this is something that she liked. I did feel that there was something with addiction that was possibly going on. Um, and I feel like she struggled a lot. Like, she was going back and forth between things of what she wanted in her life. But again, I do feel that the two persons of interest that they should be looking at, they have been in trouble before, they have been in jail before. The boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, I felt like, because one minute I was shown boyfriend, then I was shown ex, so I don't know really what that meant, but I feel like he was involved, and this was something that they had planned. And let's see if there's anything else. No, that's about it. That's what I got on it.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Next up, Christopher. Welcome.
Welcome. Glad to be here. Hope you guys are doing great. So this was a rather interesting case. I got several pages of remote viewing. Basically, we'll just start off here. I feel like this girl was in her early 20s, possibly maybe 21 years old, but I couldn't say for certain. Could have been 23. I feel like her passing was anywhere from 2 to 3 years ago. She lived, basically what I picked up was in or around the state of Utah. I felt like she was with some friends at the time of her disappearance. She didn't call home. I felt like she was kind of like when kids do stuff they shouldn't do, like let's do this and don't say nothing. Felt like she just left with friends. But then the more I got into it, I felt like maybe she wasn't really with friends. She was with a friend, and I felt like maybe it could have possibly been a male friend. And I felt like at the time of her passing, she was empty. And when I mean empty, I mean like whoever it was that did this to her took all of her belongings. There would be no trace of evidence left. Her death was. I kept feeling like her death was a mystery, like it's unsolved how she passed away. And I feel like I kept feel like people she was close to maybe know more than what they're saying, and I there again could be wrong about that. She had a felt like going back to her life. I tried to regroup what her life was like. I felt like she had a happy childhood. I also felt like she was depressed a lot. Like maybe like her parents didn't give her the attention that she wanted, or give her enough attention. She loved to be in the spotlight as far as being with friends and even in school. She loved. She was smart, talented, charming. She had several friends in high school. Several friends, like girlfriends, I guess you could say. And some of these friends that she was with there towards the end of her life, she knew for a long time, and some was more recent. I felt like she weighed maybe around 120 pounds, possibly. I knew she was like a brunette hair. And she had planned on college. I felt like maybe she had planned on going to college. Either she had planned on it or she was just starting. And let's see. Some of the friends that she hung out with, some of them she knew for a long time, but some of them were more newer, and they weren't really true friends. They were just, I don't want to use the term using, but like just hanging out with her for benefit. And let's see. And then there was something about an older man, a much older man that she was with or had been with. And I keep feeling like he was the one that she was like don't say anything. Like maybe she was sneaking around with him. And I felt like it wasn't true love that he felt for her. It was just what she could give him or provide for him. But I felt like she really trusted him. Like she really loved this guy. Like she felt like this was really something. But he was just getting what he wanted out of it. And I felt like let's see, like maybe he knew more than, or should say maybe she found out things about him. And I kept feeling like maybe he had a past history of women and things, and she was maybe going to be another victim. And the more I got into it, I felt like he was medium built, and he had other people he hung out with. Like it wasn't just him; he had like other friends of his that would help him commit these. And I won't say use the term crimes, but commit these things that he was doing, that they were doing. He'd been in trouble before. I kept feeling like he had other stuff that he was blamed for, or not blamed for, but had done. And let's see. she might have been taking. I felt like she was on like antidepressants. Cause I kept feeling like she was always upset and sad, and maybe she was taking pills to keep her happy. Besides being with him, but I felt like there was something that she was taking or things she was taking that she should not have been taking. They were like, I don't, not prescription, but more like, or maybe prescription. But she was happy as long as she was with this gentleman because he made her happy. And then I felt like maybe she found out about some of his other, some of the other stuff because I kept feeling like she was like, I know, why, and he was like telling her like, forget it, don't worry about it. And I felt like she was maybe got too close to the information, and that's where perhaps him or one of his buddies did something to her. And I keep hearing the term, I keep hearing dirt bikes and ATVs, but more like what they call it, 4-wheelers for some reason. And I felt like there at the end she was like freezing cold, very very cold. And then I kept thinking, well, was this January or February when this took place? And I was thinking more like maybe early January because I kept feeling like she felt like she was cold. And something about a sister was picking up on her family, and I kept feeling like maybe her sister knows more than what she has said. Like maybe she knew that this girl was sneaking around with this gentleman. And let's see, I tried to pick up on any other individuals because I felt like the area that she was in, or the town, more like the area she was in, was where other crimes that maybe he had done took place. Like this wasn't the first time that somebody had an incident there. And going back to him, I keep going back to him because I feel like he or one of his buddies was the cause of all this, cause of her disappearance. And I keep feeling like a field, like there's a large like countryside field. Of course, at the time of her passing, I think it was all snow, but there was like a field, a country, or something, and that's where she was. And I keep going back to him, the gentleman, and perhaps her sister knows more than what she's saying, and that's what I got. I can't hear you, Grizzly.
Yeah, I was actually muted,
Oh,
and it reminded me of those old Japanese shows. Up next, I'm
okay.
saying back, Christopher, Melinda, come on back, and if I can hit you. So
Thank you,
I was like,
Grizz.
where is your sketches?
Yes, I sent a message to Ane and I was like, I forgot my sketches. So I do have them. So let me pull them
Okay,
up.
great.
I do have them. So that's the first one. I feel, he was a much older person, and I feel that he directly knows, he's directly involved with the passing of this young lady, and he did have an accomplice, and I believe the accomplice was the one that actually got her to come their way, because I feel like there was some kind of issues going on with him. But anyway, let me get this one off, and then I'll pull up the other one. And so both of them were older gentlemen. And if I had to guess, I would say between late 30s to middle 40s. It would be the age that I would get both of them in. But that's what the images that I was shown for what they looked like at the time. I will put it that way. So thank you for letting me.
Creepy sketch.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me come back on and show it. And thank you, Ane, for letting me know. I was like, oh, my sketches. So I appreciate
stand by and we'll bring you right back. So what do you think, Jennifer, so far?
They're so talented. They're so talented, the panel.
That second sketch gave me the creeps.
Yeah, me too.
All right, next up, ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Jo.
Yeah, well, with this, I got two men, older man with a rounder face, and then a younger guy. And I saw a goatee with him, and I kept hearing The only one, the only one. And I see rocky area. And I see like a crumpled body. So I think a lot happened to the girl's body. And she was killed because she knew things. And she trusted them and she shouldn't have. And I see a light blue sedan. And then somebody knows something and isn't talking. So that's what I got on this. But her poor little body is so crumpled and so messed up.
All right,
That's what I
Joseph,
did.
thank you very much.
That's what I got.
Always nice to see you. Stand by. All right, next up, Angela, come on down.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing good. Nice to see you.
Nice seeing you. So I right away when I connected with her, I feel like that she may have been tortured or forced to ingest something because I had extreme burning down in my mouth, down my throat, and down through my chest, and all the way down to my stomach. It was incredibly burning sensation every time I connected with her. The one of the first impressions I got of her that she was very kind of dreamy in the sense where she has her head in the clouds and not so much grounded and has a lot of fantasy driven type perception of reality. So she may be easily manipulated. And she was very kind, loved people like God. And I also got there were two males, a younger and an older male. And it felt like she was trapped by the older male. Cornered by the owner male is what I actually have down the impression that I got. I also got the impression of a blue vehicle. I'm not sure what vehicle it was, but either a car or a truck, and just the color blue. And what I got on here, I heard a male say, "If I can't have her, nobody will." It's what I felt like it was motivated by, like that sense of, oh, she betrayed me, she rejected me, now nobody will have her. And that is the most of the impressions that I received. I did try um, using something called a parabox, and somebody told me white object and used a knife, and that's all I heard. And I don't know if that's related or not, but the main thing that struck me the most strongest impression was that burning. When I took my attention off of her and focused something else, that burning would go away. And as soon as I looked at her photograph again, that incredible burning sensation would come back in my mouth, throat. I could feel this burning traveling down through my esophagus, all the way down to my stomach, whatever it was. And I also had that this was planned, and that this person, or the persons, the male, two males, and particularly the male that did the actual violence, he purposely waited until she was emotionally vulnerable. So he planned this, and he specifically planned to wait until she knew she was emotionally vulnerable, as feeling the most defeated, and so he could have more control. Other than that, I mean, that's all I got. But the main focus, it feels like she really, unfortunately, suffered with this. Whatever they poured into her mouth or forced her to ingest, that caused burning in the mouth, the throat, all the way down to the esophagus and down to the stomach.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Angela. Stand by. And next up, Ane.
Hi. Okay, so I don't know if I'm, tapping in very well. But when I was looking at her and when I got the feeling of is the first thing was I felt like I was on fire. Not that I was necessarily like I had like a burning sensation, especially at the bottom of my feet. It feels like there's like some kind of burning sensation, like or some heat or something like. But it was at the bottom of my feet, and my feet feel like really heavy, and then I can't move them. And same with my wrists. I feel like my wrists are really like either they're being grabbed, held down, like like I can't move they hurt. So it feels like they're being like restricted or something. And I have head pain, but I have two different kinds of head pain that they're giving me a sensation of. And that is either there was some kind of blunt force, because I'm getting like the head pain on the top, and then I almost feel as if like my head has a sensation of like my hair being like me being dragged or pulled by my hair of some sort. Like definitely like I'm getting like a pulled sensation like that as well. So there's a lot of head pain. I'm getting the wrists I felt like were constricted of some sort, and I'm getting like pain there, and then the feet for sure. I feel like I can't move them. I'm feeling, and then I fire sensation. So I don't know where the fire. I don't think I'm on fire, but it could be. But I'm just feeling like there's a burning sensation, especially at the bottom of my feet. Like feels like it's like pins and needles and burning, and I'm thinking that's all I'm getting right now. So I'm trying to think if she's wanting to communicate anything more, and but that's really all I have at the moment.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Jennifer, you're not good at playing poker.
Actually, I am really good.
They're
Not playing
like,
poker.
Jennifer just smiled. Watch her. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, the one and only from overseas, Inbal.
Hi guys, how are you?
Welcome.
Thank you. Great to see you.
So what do you come up with tonight?
So I only pull out the photograph when we're about to go live. So I'm going to be doing it live right now. So I've got the picture on my screen. I work with tarot cards. So I'm going to shuffle and just sort of see what I'm starting with. And what I see, first of all, I see this very young girl as a bit of a superstar, somebody who was noticed, somebody who was noted. So either somebody who was surrounded by a lot of friends or who had won awards. And unfortunately, that also drew in some negative attention. So there's always been sort of the dual existence of awards and bullying. And it looks to me like the side of the bullying is where trouble befell her. So it may have been people who had already had an issue with her historically, so that it's not so it wasn't something spontaneous, that it wasn't something accidental. Interestingly, I'm seeing two people. I feel like it's both people that were kind of interested in her. I don't want to say romantically, because obviously, it's such a young girl, but that wanted her attention. So let's have a look what the dynamic was, what the background was between herself and the perpetrator, or the people that we're looking at. And what I've got here is an outdoors, free, out in the air. I actually sort of logged on a little earlier than usual, and I heard that both was it Angela and One was saying about fire, and I want to show you the card that's come up. Look at that, right? One's nodding because that's exactly what it felt like, right? But what's interesting to me is that everybody, previously you were saying about the feeling of fire on the inside, but I feel like there's also a burning sensation around, like in the eyes, there's a smell. So everything is kind of surrounding, and there is like a suffocation. There's more than that though. So something, Bernie, might have been used to subdue her, but I see also blades. I also see knives. So there may have been a stabbing element to whatever went on. I feel like the outdoors plays a part. So she may have been taken outdoors immediately after, or it might have happened like on a threshold when she was about to get somewhere or she was leaving somewhere. And where is she? Right. So where she could be found, I don't know. I hate saying that, but I don't know that there is that much of her to find. I feel like whatever remained of her had deteriorated over time. So I don't know if this is something very historical or if it's something that, or if it's a situation where the perpetrators had decided to get rid of traces as much as possible. So I don't believe that there is that much to be found, but whatever would still remain, whatever sort of couldn't be got rid of, I feel is by the side of a water, by the side of a lake, by the side of a river. I don't see it as the seaside. I don't see it as salt water. I see it as sweet water. And I don't see her inside the water, but rather on the coast. So on the coast, on the edge of the water. So if there is anything that's like a wooded area that borders water, there could be some clues there. And what of the attackers? Where are they? Who are they? So I feel like the attackers or whoever sort of planned this, I do think it was planned. One was interested in her, as mentioned before, but I feel like that person who was interested in her collaborated on the crime, on the situation with somebody who knew her. So there is somebody who was friends with her or was an acquaintance, knew her comings and goings. And I feel like those two people are still walking around. Would they be found? And I believe that one day they will be found, but I'm seeing it via a voluntary confession. I see it sort of coming when they decide to come forward, not via an investigation. So that's what I've got there. I'm going to stay and see what everybody else has got.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jennifer, what do you
Yes.
think about that?
They're all so good. They really are. I think we can explain the burning though.
Yeah, so why don't you walk us through this case?
So this girl was Sophia Lauer. She was 22 years old. She disappeared. Her family stopped hearing from her in the beginning of March of 2022. But here's the first story told by the family was that she left with the group of friends from the parents' house. The mom exchanged number with said friends, and she was going to a place near in Utah near Bear Lake. Social media was fine for a little bit, first few weeks, but then the beginning of March, there was no response, text messaging, anything. And then some kids on ATVs, which was the first report, other reports say they were dirt bikes, found a body that had no identification on it. Meanwhile, the family had filed a missing persons report And I think based on fingerprints, they found it out. It was Sophia. And we've got a couple news videos we can play. So the autopsy came back and they cannot determine how she died. But the odd thing is, to me, is that the panel is saying things like knives and blades and things like that. But they didn't release anything about any violence done to the body. It was just cause of death undetermined. This was in Utah. You know, people are assuming it was exposure, but you can test for that. So this whole thing is just weird to me. And then a few months after, I have another news report with the sister as well, of this girl, saying that one of the men she was with knows something or should come forward. So she had a 44-year-old guy she was seeing at close to the time of her death. The family says that the relationship was done when she had left. But I think a lot of us kind of wonder about that. And there was also an arrest of a friend of this 44-year-old who was arrested in a nearby county, who is under suspicion for a suspect in a death in the county where this girl was found.
Right.
But we have no pictures of either of them. None of the news reports say anything. Meantime, in a case involving an undetermined death, I understand families need to move on. You want to lay to rest and have the funeral. They cremated the body.
I found that very disturbing. Why would you do that?
Well, I mean, okay, so just let's assume it's not suspicious based on the circumstances. It's cheaper. You know, if the family didn't have a lot of money, it's the least expensive way to lay someone to rest is to cremate them.
So Eric says, for the audio listeners, either they're lying or the medical examiner is brainless. And we actually brought that up on the part 1 series when we started this on Lauer. Is that it could be a medical examiner with no knowledge or less experience with bodies, remains. Mm-hmm. So the possibilities are out there. However, it doesn't add up with what we're finding out compared to how regular cases are solved or worked.
Right. And the family did say, you know, she was in high school, she was a good student, but when she turned 17 and started seeing this guy, they saw a change in her. There was some DOC involved and other things. So they said that she just kind of stopped caring. So I think that's where, if we were getting depressed, that maybe that's what they didn't talk about antidepressants, but they really don't give us much on her at all, to be honest with you.
However, when she went missing, she was with a group of friends.
Mm-hmm. That was the first report.
Right. None of the friends were interviewed. Nobody said she was depressed. She was involved with some kind of consumption of whatever beverages or DLCs.
Right.
So I don't know. It doesn't add up.
It doesn't.
So panel, go ahead, Jennifer.
They were. I don't see any interviews with said friends. And report in April of 2022, the first report says she left with a group of friends. By the time we hit end of July 2022, because I had 3 different videos up, same people involved in the interview, it's changed to a male. But nothing says, oh, hey, I was with her, or hey, we were at the hotel and she left. So it just doesn't make sense to me. There's so much.
What Chris is asking is, did she have insurance?
Did the family have insurance?
They didn't mention anything in any report. She was only 22, so if anyone had insurance, it would be moms. You know how parents take out those policies on their kids. Right. You know, yeah. But I feel like something in one of the reports later, 2022, made me feel like the mom was deceased now. But I that's how I took it. Maybe I'm wrong, but the sister said she's laid to rest with she's with my mom and she'll be there forever. She said
Right.
something to that accord. So that's just made me think that maybe mom's not with us anymore.
Interesting. Well, Tanner, what do you think?
Wow.
Anyone?
I just want to make sure I was live. I know I got a big logo on my face, but
I feel, Grizz, that it's these two individuals, they know who done it. They were involved in it, and I do feel it's males, and the family may suspect it too, or they may have an understanding of something that they're not putting out yet, so it makes them look suspicious. But I truly feel everything that I was shown, it was two males involved.
I don't know if it
Yes.
was law enforcement or medical examiners said if somebody will step forward, we can change what was recorded.
It was the sister. She said that in an interview that that's what she was told, or that's what was on the autopsy report.
Now, why would somebody make that statement?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Well, and the lack of discussion on the condition of the body when it was found is odd to me. There was none. No discussion of anything.
Everything's
So
vague.
And that's strange.
it is. But the sister made a comment in one of the interviews. She said it was like when pirates make you walk the plank. You walk the plank in the middle of the ocean and they leave you there. The sister was in an interview. She said that she feels like that's what happened. And she was found in a remote area, wooded area in Utah called near Bear Lake. So
I'll say this. I went out to the vehicle with no shoes, and I thought I was going to die. So you put me out in the middle of the desert with no shoes, I wouldn't make it.
well, I mean, but this was February, March 2022. So wouldn't that be cold?
Yes.
And it said that there might have been, they talked about snow as well. I mean, and I grew up in Wisconsin. I've gotten frostbite. It burns.
Mm-hmm.
It burns like heat burns you.
Yes.
Now, what about the chemical thing?
They said toxicology didn't bring back anything odd. I have my own theory on that. I don't want to talk about on the show, though.
Yeah, so Rebecca, you're right. If someone came forward, we could change the cause of death. Now, that insinuates that they know something. It just doesn't add up.
Nope. Not
No,
a
Ladies and
bit.
gentlemen, thank you all so much
That
for
burning
attending.
came
We'll get another
from
case.
somewhere.
Go ahead.
Well, that
Go ahead,
burning had
Nancy.
to come from somewhere. I mean, so because that felt like she was forced to ingest something that was meant to cause suffering and to cause burning in the mouth, throat, and down through the stomach. There had to have been something poured down her throat or forced to ingest. So I think maybe that's what they're withholding.
Well, a little twisted. There was not any information regarding how the body was found when it comes to marks, wounds, bruises, clothing torn, not torn. It was very vague, and the tox report would show a lot of things if it was ingested, burned, chemically induced, or not. But what was really strange is that seeing these different news reports, they were not consistent. And if you are missing with a group of friends, Yeah, absolutely. And Angela, I think you're spot on as well too. Yeah, I think you're onto something because this doesn't add up. And Jennifer and I talked about this, and I think that somebody is keeping something quiet, and I think that she knew something, and you just don't go out in the middle of nowhere and just be found, right? And I'm just
Right.
saying that's how
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And she was probably dumped there.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah, I totally agree.
And they
But
took all
thank
of
you
her
all. Mhm.
belongings too. Purse, everything.
Mhm.
Which that could mean that maybe she wasn't dead on impact. That maybe that's why they took her belongings, so she wouldn't have any chance to escape or
Right. They knew she was going to get lost and not get out of it, so they wouldn't know who she was if they found her. Yep.
That makes sense.
Wow.
Absolutely. But
That's
thank you all once again.
Thank you.
And I want to thank everybody and tune in tonight to Christmas show. And you're talking about Roswell.
we got some new insights about Roswell that proves what went down. So that's gonna be fantastic.
Awesome. And from coast to coast, around the world. Godspeed, everybody.
Bye bye.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No, we're gonna watch and listen.